The U.S. travel industry is still hoping for a strong finish to what has been a very, very difficult summer. Labor Day weekend will mark the end of a very turbulent season. According to TripAdvisor, areas that were once pandemic hotspots are staging a comeback. All of it as its top 5 fall destinations are on the beach, with 3 in Florida and the others in New Jersey and South Carolina. TripAdvisor CEO Steve Kaufer joins us live now from Newton, Massachusetts. Steve, thank you so much for being with us. So what are you noticing right now in terms of trends as to where people are traveling to, if at all, this time of year?
Well, I'd say the biggest trend is certainly to move and stay closer to home. So it's the road trip, it's going to outdoor places like beaches, but also hiking and other activities where you're not with a lot of other people in a city center. So some of the biggest declines are what you would expect, a New York City. Even in Miami is a bit crowded, whereas Key Largo or Key West, much more open spaces, Myrtle Beach. These are the type of locations that have a lot of appeal for Americans right now.
So, as you're suggesting, I mean, it's really areas or countries that have domestic tourist destinations that are faring better. For countries that have always relied solely on international tourists, what can they do at a time like this?
Well, the best suggestion I would have would be to really drive home how safe their areas are for the worldwide travelers, or at least the folks that are legally allowed to travel to that particular destination. So you take Greece as an example. They've done a very good job, as you earlier reported, on how to keep travelers safe during their vacations. And so they've been able to grow perhaps better than some others, where there's been travel corridors and where the EU is coming together to help form a system that allows travelers to really know where they can and cannot go. I think those are all really wonderful developments to help travelers feel safe and feel confident that their trips won't be interrupted.
And what about the places that are seeing a sudden influx of domestic tourists that aren't necessarily used to that kind of tourism? I mean, is there a risk or a fear of over-tourism in cities and towns that aren't used to it?
I don't think there's really anywhere around the country or around the world right now that's too concerned about over-tourism, because as the international travel may have shifted more domestically, it's probably more of a blip. We really do encourage everyone, certainly all the locations that are looking to attract the domestic tourism industry, to play it really, really safely. Put on the mask, set the very clear guidelines so that none of these Labor Day vacations, none of these upcoming vacations turn any location into a hotspot. That would just be terrible for the short term and, of course, the long term for the travel industry and of course, the whole country.
Right, so if hotels and various businesses show that they're taking this very, very seriously in terms of mask wearing and enforcing rules about social distancing, and they might be able to lure tourists to spend money with them. However, what about actually getting people to cross borders? That's something completely different. How do you actually encourage people and show people that it's actually still safe to get on a plane and cross an international border at a time like this?
I mean, it's also tied together. So if a country is doing well, keeping their overall caseload down, they're going to be a more natural destination. And that's whether it's a domestic traveler or whether it's just keeping the nightclubs closed so that the spread is less. When it comes to making a traveler feel safe, whether it's a domestic trip or an international trip, it's about how can that traveler get the information that both the destination as well as the hotels and the restaurants care. We have a great Travel Safe initiative at TripAdvisor where close to 100,000 different properties and restaurants have uploaded safety information so that their guests can feel safe. And that's something I encourage every hotel, every restaurant to go ahead and do. It's free on our site, of course, but then as a traveler, you get to come, and in planning your trip, you really want to know the information. Is where I'm going taking this virus seriously, and specifically, what are they doing about it?
Yeah, that really is key, just understanding what companies are doing. Steve Kaufer, live for us there. Thank you so much.